Stick around if you want to know the best way to learn a scale, or at least test how well you think you know a scale. What we're going to talk about today is hands down the best way to learn a scale on guitar that I know of. The bonus is that you learn the scale on your entire neck in the process. Make sure that you download the free PDF. The link is down below. I like to kill two birds with one stone, and this exercise does just that. First off, you're learning the whole neck. You're understanding the structure of whatever scale you're working on in a linear way. In other words, how it's built. You're practicing the creative muscle and how to use that scale in a musical way. I mean, after all, isn't that why you want to learn a scale? To make music, right? Not just play scale up and down relentlessly, pointlessly, without purpose. The end goal is to make music. Before we begin, I need to explain a little bit about my guitar. If you notice, my guitar has 7 strings. So my guitar is tuned just like a 6-string guitar. What looks like the first string is actually, I consider, my 7th string, because that's the one that's new, that's the one that's different. It's E, A, D, G, B, E, and A. So when you're looking at my guitar, just pretend that what looks like the first string isn't even there, okay? Step 1 in this process is to pick either end of the guitar, so either the 6th string or the 1st string, and work your way in one direction. I'm just going to happen to pick the 6th string to start today, and I'm going to pick an A minor blues scale just for demonstration purposes. In the key of A, an A minor blues scale would be the root is A, the flat 3rd is C, the 4th is D, the sharp 4, or flat 5 if you prefer, is D sharp or E flat, E is the 5th, G is the flat 7, okay? So A, C, D, D sharp, E, G. What you want to do is memorize those notes. Get those notes straight in your mind as quickly as possible. Keep thinking those notes while you're playing. Start on a string and play the scale up and down. What you want to do is pick the lowest note within the scale that string will allow you to play. So even though we're in the key of A, E would be the lowest note because E is a note in the scale. And when you do this, make sure you go at least 1 octave. So we're going to go from the open E up to E at the 12th fret. So just slowly we're going to map out the notes. We're going to go E, G, A, C, D, D sharp, E, and then back down. E, D sharp, D, C, A, G, E. And you want to keep playing it up and down until you can quickly visualize where the notes are. You don't have to think of the note names. Keep doing that for several minutes until you get a clear picture of where all the notes are. And then when that happens, then you're ready for step 2. Now step 2 is manipulating the scale into patterns. Okay? Now the patterns can be useful because you can use little snippets of these patterns in your playing or composing. And it helps you get the scale down. It's sort of a test of oh, do I know where those notes are? The 2 patterns that I mentioned in the PDF in that free lesson are 2 patterns that happen all over the place in all kinds of styles of music. The first pattern is up 3, down 1 when you're ascending, and down 3, up 1 when you're descending back down the note. or back down to lower notes. So it would go like this. I'm going up, literally up the first three notes that I can play within the scale. That would be E, G, A. Then I come back down one. As soon as I come back down one, which is G, then I begin the next three note grouping. Okay, so G, A, C, A, C, D, C, D, D sharp, D, D sharp, E. And then come back down. As I mentioned, it's going to be down three notes, up one. So it'd be E, D sharp, D, D sharp, D, C, D, C, A, C, A, G, A, G, E. Obviously you want to do it slow at first, but you want to be able to bring the speed up a little bit so it sounds more like this. The other cool factor is that you have to start using more than just one finger now. One finger won't cut it. You got to climb up the neck. So using multiple fingers is actually more efficient. And it'll teach you how to get around on the neck much better. So the next pattern is what I refer to as leapfrog. Now leapfrog is not a actual music term that I know of. That's just what I call it, because that's sort of what's happening in the pattern. So what happens is that whatever note you start with, you're going to always skip a note and come back to the note that you skipped. Skip a note, come back to the note you skipped. In this case, E, skip G, take A. Come back to the G because that's the note we skipped. Skip A up to C. Come back to A. Skip C up to D. Come back to C. Skip D up to D sharp. Come back to D. And then eventually get back or all the way up to E. Okay? And then do the exact opposite to come back down, descending. So and then again, just like the last pattern, you want to keep playing it until you don't have to think about it, you just play it. Even better if you can play it without looking at your hands. For the most part, I was using my two outside fingers, my first finger and my fourth finger. It actually makes sense to use fingers 1 and 4, mostly. So I'm going to go 0, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3 maybe, 1, 3. And then to come back down, what I want you to do is be able to hear these scales, whatever scale you decide to play, and be able to hear what the sound of the scale is without necessarily hearing the root as the starting note or ending note all the time. It also forces you to think about what you're playing. Step 3 is actually really important. Don't skip that step, because what you're doing is actually exercising your right brain. Steps 1 and 2 were all left brain. We were working on mapping out where the notes were, organizing that into patterns, making sense of it. That's what the left brain does. The right brain is being creative. So the creative part in step 3 is improvising or soloing, using only the notes that you just worked on that particular string. A couple of things to keep in mind is you want it to sound like music. Structure what you're playing as if it's very conversational. You want to say a musical sentence or play a musical phrase, okay? Don't be afraid to leave space. Tell a story. Make everything make sense. When you play something, answer it back with something else. Sometimes people just close down and they I don't know what to play. But the thing is, just start playing something. Even if it's 2 notes, then answer it back with 2 more notes. The more you do it, the more it frees you up and the more creative you'll hopefully be with this. Because it's a minor blues scale, I'm going to be picturing a blues chord progression in my mind. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so that was 12 measures that I played on. Hopefully that made sense to you. Now, in my mind, I was hearing a whole band playing. I was hearing the bass, the drums, keyboards, or another guitar player playing. And I was literally trying to have a conversation with myself. I play something and I answer it back with something else. Okay? So all of that will be in the PDF below. Before you go, don't forget to follow that link below in the description. Grab that PDF and start working on your scales, okay? Now, step 4 would be to repeat steps 1 and 3 for each consecutive string until you're finished all 6 strings, or in my case, 7 strings, or however many strings you have. And what you want to do is make sure that you work on all steps, all 3 steps, or all 4 steps if you prefer, on each string every day. I promise you that in 1 week's time, you will have mastered whatever scale that you're working on. Okay? And try to do it as many keys as possible. That's how you're going to understand what playing in other keys mean and how to be creative with it. Because remember, you're exercising that creative muscle. So we're going to just jump ahead and pretend that we played through a bunch of other strings. Every note in the scale happened to be an open string so far. But in this case, B isn't in the scale, right? So what would be the nearest note that we could start on? You guessed it, C. C is the correct answer. Okay, so on the second string, on our B string, B isn't in the scale, C is our lowest note. So we're going to go from C at the first fret to C at the 13th fret. So it would look like this. First, you map out the notes: C, D, D sharp, D, E, G, A, C, and back down. Okay, and then you play the patterns. And then there's the leapfrog pattern. Make sense? And then improvise on that one string. In my many years of playing guitar and practicing, I've learned that that is the best way to learn a scale. You can apply this to any scale. So before you go, please hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell notification. That is the best way to let you know when I release another video. If you find these videos helpful, please share it, like it, comment if you've got any ideas on how to work on a scale. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Smale. Hopefully you enjoyed this lesson. I'll see you around next time. Take care.